Welcome on into the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup. I'm Jordan Ham. So much happened in the last 7 days in terms of commitments, some big-time offers to some underclassmen, and plenty of big performances on Friday night. And with that, I'm going to bring in my good buddy, Jason Jewell. And Jason, New Mexico State had an unheard of week. They had 6 commitments from Arizona players, all coming from 3 different schools.
Just absolutely crazy, and then how they did it was nuts too. So first, they get 2 commitments from 2 big-time offensive linemen from Desert Edge High School. They get Max Wilhite, the center, and Austin Young, the right tackle, both pledged to New Mexico State. Then the very next day, the 3 very talented linemen over at Horizon High School all pledged to the Aggies as well. So you get Justin Segura was the first to announce. He's one of my favorite defensive tackles in the state. And then Isaiah Mersalat announces. He's a very good offensive lineman. And Grant Molesky is a guy that can play tight end, and the Aggies are going to start him off at tight end. But if he can't do that, he can move over and he can play on the defensive side of the ball. And then this weekend, they hosted Kai Golden, the massive defensive tackle from Marana Mountain View, who one time was committed to Air Force. He flipped and he committed to New Mexico State as well. So they got 6 commitments in a 7-day span. Not something you see very often.
So 6 commitments, 5 of them on the line, plus Molesky's a very good blocking tight end. How does this transform the trenches for the Aggies?
You look at it, if they could hold on to all these guys, we know recruiting how things get, later on, but we're still quite a ways away from signing day. But if they can hang on to all of these guys, this is a group of players that can transform their entire offense, what they do up front. And we know that games are won and lost in the trenches, and this is a very good group. These were not players that were just only had offers from New Mexico State. They had multiple offers, every single one of them. So landing these guys is a big coup here for New Mexico State. Corey Martin, who recruits out here, did a fantastic job getting these commitments.
Tyson Jones, a big-time offensive lineman for the Scorpions as well. He committed to Virginia Tech for a track and field scholarship. Now we're going to shift over to the offers, and 3 underclassmen pick up Power 5 offers.
Yeah, so we'll start off with one of my favorite young prospects, 2020 corner Keely Ringo over at Saguaro gets a very big offer. It comes from Oregon. Now, I've talked about it plenty of times on the show. When you have length and you can run, you're going to get recruited, and that's exactly what Ringo is. He's a 6'2", 185-pound corner that has 10.5 speed in the 100 meters. This is not going to be his only Power 5 offer. He is going to be a national-level prospect. Another 2020 prospect, Cade Bennett over at Notre Dame Prep gets his first offer, and it comes from Syracuse. He's a big, mauling offensive guard that's also going to be a national-level prospect. And then the last underclassman, 2019 safety/linebacker Ryan Puskas over at Liberty High School, who I'm going to go see play this Friday. He gets his second scholarship offer, his first from the Power 5. It comes from Cal. He also has an offer from South Dakota State.
And finally, wrapping up the offers, a couple of stat fillers in Josh Walker and Drayson Hall, both pick up offers.
Yeah, so Josh Walker, I saw him play 2 weeks ago against Horizon. He had a fantastic game. He has an offer from UC Davis, very good and very underrated wide receiver guy I really, really like. And then Drayson Hall, you talk about stats. He has an offer from Dartmouth. He's a guy that averages 13 yards a carry and 19 yards a catch. Absolutely ridiculous for Higley High School.
Now looking back to last week, our player of the week, Brock Purdy, 7 touchdowns, 4 throwing, 3 rushing, just a huge game for the Perry quarterback.
Yeah, so obviously Perry gets the win over Hamilton in that shootout. He threw for 383 yards, had 4 touchdowns throwing. And if you look at it, Purdy is a guy that doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. In his last 3 games, he has not thrown an interception. So he's going to be my player of the week for last week, but it was very tough. There were some very good performances last week.
I'm just going to tell colleges right now, offering Brock Purdy is a good decision. He makes your program better. Now, moving forward to this upcoming week, a lot of really good games, a lot of really good rivalry games, but the game we're going to highlight is Centennial and Liberty.
I'm going to stay on the west side and go to Liberty and Centennial, and we've already talked about Puskas. He's a very good defensive player, and I think Liberty's very sound on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to have to try to stop Zidane Thomas over at Centennial High School. We know what he's been able to do carrying the ball for the Coyotes, so this is a matchup that I'm really looking forward to.
And finally, the high school football community lost one of its members this past week. On Friday night, Moon Valley's Carlos Sanchez collapsed during his game and later passed away. We wanted to pass our condolences to the Sanchez family, to the Moon Valley community. And if you can, please go and help support that family. There is a GoFundMe for the Sanchez family, and that can be found on Moon Valley's football's Twitter account, and we'll also highlight it here on the screen. And we just want to, again, send our condolences to the Sanchez family. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup on Sports 360 AZ.